Today's September 22nd, 2013, and this is the Swiss chard that I put in the uranium vase. That's the little packet. I bought it from Botanical Interest. They're organic. Problem is when I had my bloggy and I recorded all this on January 1st, 2013, my bloggy kind of broke and I couldn't retrieve anything off of it. So you gotta trust me. I put it in January 1st and it was in for 3 months. Let's see what the description is on it. So I'm curious to see if they say how big the leaves should be. Alright, this is where it all started, this experiment. You got 5 seconds to point to one of the vases to try to figure out which is the uranium vase. There's actually 2 of them, but where are the uranium vases? And these are the vases that I put the seeds into for 3 months. So point out one of the vases. We're going to find out real quick which one is the one that I put it in. Are you pointing? There it is. I wonder if you were the one that pointed to the right one, but that's the uranium vases right there. That's the vase. I put it in the one onto the left. Put those in packets, seed packets. Split the seeds in half. Zucchini, tomato, beans, chard, and the chard is chard and tomato are the ones that took, and the chard is what is like the main focus of that irradiated garden. So this is where they were in from January 1st. They were all of January, February, and March, and I sowed them the first week of April, April 1st. So this is no April Fool's joke. This is legit, and this is my own GMO induced by uranium vases. I created a GMO. There was so many of those, so much of that radiation was pounding those seeds for 3 months. This is what happens. You end up breaking apart or destroying or fracturing some of the DNA in the chromosomes, and then it sports into mutations, and I believe that's what I got there. So there it is, the uranium vases. That's where the experiment all began. I should put it in the neck. I positioned it right in the neck, right there, in an envelope. I don't really want to go near them because that energy field beams out about 2 feet. So I'll get my Geiger counter real quick and show you. See, I might do I don't know if I've ever done a 100-minute reading on those uranium vases. I try to look at the video really quick, and I gotta do one, but here's kind of like the turn this around so you could see this. Actually, so I could see this. Alright, so I don't think I've ever done a 100-minute test on those uranium vases, so I don't know what it is. I tried to look really quick, so I'm just going to end up putting this in front of it. See, it's about 30, 38. I'm going to go real quick because I don't like to go by this stupid ass thing either. See how high it goes? It's 2100 CPMs. So those seeds were in there for 3 months. Can you imagine that? And actually the neck is even more stronger. Well, you get the picture. .667. You might as well say 0.6. Oh, there it is, 0.666. That's the sieverts an hour. I think it's microsieverts an hour, or millisieverts. Always get the MR, millirems. Millirems an hour, I think that is. We'll zone in closer so you can see that. That's the other setting. Instead of CPMs, millirems. But I'm probably wrong, so don't take my word on it. That's that little symbol, that's why I zoomed in on it. But that is kicking some butt. I know I wouldn't want to put my hand in there for a week, let alone 3 months. So how they could say those things are safe is beyond me, but and watch me retrieve it, how quickly. Did you see that? Pretty scary. Hey, what this experiment proves is that radiation can induce mutations. And it did it right here. So these could be like imagined as tumors. This is cancer. So that radiation is causing cancer, inducing mutations. This is my GMO, a genetically modified organism induced by a uranium vase. This is my GMO that I created. I'm not going to eat it. I may save seeds off of it next year when it goes to seed. See what it produces. God, does it wrap all the way around there? No, it don't. It goes right here. So what does that read? Four and 3/4. That's pretty wide. That's wild. This has definitely been genetically modified. That's abnormal, I would say. Definitely abnormal. It's a mutation. So let's measure the leaf now, how long they are. Whoa. Alright, let's do some quick measurements here. I'm curious to see how long this thing is. Approximately 35 inches long on that leaf. This one's like 36.5 inches. Let's look how wide it is. Now this is pretty wide. Now this is a rough estimate here. Very rough. "19 inches across this leaf." Alright, here's the other half that was not irradiated, the chard. Half the seeds were irradiated, the other half weren't. These weren't. It's still a bigger variety, but I'm going to get some of the biggest ones here and compare it to the other one side by side. I'll cut a leaf and compare them. But this is the regular patch right here. Hasn't been harvested this year, so this one looks kind of similar over here with the fatter stem, but as you can see, I'll do a measurement here. This one's 2 inches across. This one's 2 inches across, so it's twice the size as, or I should say the other one is twice the size, twice as big as this one over here. And let's do a short measurement here. It's about 22 inches long. And let's say about 7 inches wide. So there's definitely, the irradiated seed produced definitely a way bigger plant. And since I think it seeds on the second year, we will save seeds next year when it bolts, goes to seed. And only off that one I'm going to do and see if we get some more crazy stuff. But that's my GMO, and we'll compare leaves now. Hey, check it out, my irradiated garden. This is the final phase of the My GMO Chard experiment. This is my genetically modified chard. Unlike Monsanto, I used a uranium vase, but you never know, they may be using it also. I don't think there are any regulations on how to create the genetically modified organism, whether it's using uranium vases, microwaves, however they're doing it. But I used the uranium vase, and what we're going to do here is just basically compare the leaves of the two plants that I grew. And this is actually the regular sized leaf I got from the regular grown chard. There was two different plants that looked a little bit different. This was the one that looked a little bit thicker, and this was the other one with the greener leaf. So we'll do this. We'll measure it. It looks like this is 24 inches. So that's about 24 inches. And roughly, I'd say about 8 inches wide, which is the same with these. This one is 25. So about 2 feet long and 8 inches across. The stems here is about 2.5 inches. So you can see how it's flared. This one it didn't. This is the other plant. It wasn't as flared, but you can kind of see how the leaf is. So now I'm going to bring in the biggest one. This is the biggest one, and this is the actual plant that I'm calling My GMO. And because I'm pretty sure you only need 90 days to test a GMO for it to be able to be released to the market, and actually the company that actually creates the GMO can actually do their own testing, believe it or not. So I could test this for 90 days and assure I think it's the FDA, that it's safe. I don't see anything wrong with it for 90 days. And then I could actually sell this and put it on the market. And here it comes. This is My GMO Chard. Look at this. Look at this puppy. So we're going to pull this guy away and take the biggest leaf of the normal one. And there is the biggest leaf of the My GMO Chard. And basically it's look at that. So side by side, let's put them side by side. Now we'll measure this one. This is about 4 inches. 4 inches. And then the length is 33 inches. Now this is one of the biggest leaves. Now this is my genetically modified chard. This is the Ford Hook chard that was not irradiated, and this was the seed that was irradiated with the uranium vase. My GMO. So now I'll introduce a couple more leaves. So try to be quick here, because I thought this seemed to be the biggest one, but check out some of the other leaves. This is off the same plant. This one's even wider. It's actually almost the same length, but this one is at least about 16 inches across. And look how wide that is. Here's another one. Now here was some leaves off of it. Look at this. Look at how this started curling in here. Here's another one off. And now this is another plant right here. I got 4 different plants. This was one. Now this is another one where the leaves were just going crazy. Nothing was folding out, and it was always folded together like this. This is probably the craziest looking one right here for mutatedness, because it just folds. It's like a corkscrew. Now here's another one. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Now I wouldn't eat this at all, because this definitely looks mutated. Now I don't know, is this gonna affect, when you eat this, is this like, can this affect your digestive system as it's being digested? What I want to do also is take a close-up picture with my camera of the cells of the mutated one and compare it with the regular one, and see if you can get it, see if there's anything different with the cells. So there's another crazy one off that same plant. Alright, that looks like this particular plant looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, his hand. Check it out. That's how it looks like. There's no definition actually. Actually, when you see a regular leaf, a vein, see how there's definition and they come off like singly, even though this is on a mutated leaf. But you can see how the definition is in there. Look at how there is no definition in here. It just doesn't look right, like looking in here. So there's that leaf. There's a couple more. This one was another. Okay, let's put this one on the side. This was one plant right here. I thought it was kind of a little weird for these crinkled leaves and the veins being all messed up. Put this one on the side. And now this is another plant. All the leaves are kind of like folded like this. That's one. Another plant. I don't know if you can see so good with the high definition. That little ant, or that spider, the little red spider. That's one plant. And now this is the other plant, a separate plant. I just thought it was different because the stem is not like the fat one, like that guy. And actually, if you look, remember, this was the 2 different types of chard that I pulled from the garden that were not irradiated. These 2. This one definitely resembles this one, the stem. And this one. Actually, here's the biggest one, I think it was. I'm getting them mixed up, but look at that. There they are. So what I'm going to do, My GMO Chard is the plant is going to stay in the ground. This is in a zone 5, so that means the winter's going to come in, it's going to go dormant. It's a biennial, so next year it's going to go to seed. And when it goes to seed, I'm going to save those seeds and grow that seed on. And maybe one day you guys will be eating it. I won't be. I'm just kidding. I don't think I'd sell it, but this is My GMO Chard. Look for it in your produce department. this is one meal. That's how I could sell it. I could say, look at one leaf could feed a family. I'd be curious to see the nutritional value, if you could do that between the two, to see if the nutritional value actually got affected with the radiation. Pretty much this experiment was done to show that there should be some sort of regulation on the genetically modified organisms in the food that we're eating. If it's not even with the labeling of it. Are there any rules and regulations on how a GMO could be created? I don't know, but I created one myself. Alright, there you go. There's the whole collection of leaves. I know I wouldn't eat any of this stuff. I just can't believe how huge these things are. That's my arm. Jeez, oh man, look how big these things are. Mutated leaves. Mutated stems. Looks like a house plant. My own GMO into the compost pit. There's no way in hell I'm eating those. I don't think they should be eaten. It was just a mad experiment. But I guess I'm not no mad scientist. I hope you're reassured to know that the FDA has a mandatory 90-day testing period for all new GMO before it's released into the market. Nope, that's right. By the way, the required testing period that is really done by the corporations that make GMOs is 90 days, that's right. But hey, if there's no problem in 90 days, when will there be one? Who wants to wait for the real answers if this stuff is safe or not? Definitely not the corporations that are creating these GMOs. Like for instance, my own GMO chard. I could probably make a ton of money off this thing. The farmers would love to grow this. You know how many people this could feed? But is it safe to eat? I don't know. I'm gonna say no. A canker in the plant kingdom is called is cancer. Translated as cancer. Canker, cancer. This is not a normal looking chard. So this is, I don't know if I can call this a canker, but it's definitely looks like it can cause cancer. This is totally abnormal. Just was not meant to be this way. Alright, there's the 3 different leaves that are cut in half. What I did is I added blue dye to the bucket, and the chard took up that blue dye, so I was able to get more prominent features on those veins. So I counted them. This top one is from the non-irradiated chard, and this was around. I could have missed 1 or 2. This is about 30. The irradiated one, I counted about 30, so they stayed the same. The non-irradiated wide stem had approximately 50, and the irradiated wide stem had approximately 100, so it doubled. So I just thought I'd add that in there. There you go, you can maybe count them yourself. And I'm the creator of My Own GMO Chard. So one day maybe this will help feed the world, unlike the golden rice, which turned out to be a fraud. Maybe the next GMO to save the world will be the My Own GMO. So make sure you look for it and ask for it, and we'll put Monsanto out of business. It's a joke. Alright, say no to GMO, and maybe try to create your own GMO, because I know I did mine. Wow, holy moly. How many families can I serve? I would never serve them, but look at this. My Own GMO, and this is my own creation. It's my own GMO. It's my own genetically modified organism. It's enormous. Look at this. 3-foot leaves, 4-inch wide stems. This plant could possibly feed millions, but I wouldn't eat it. Say no to GMO. This is one way to take down Monsanto. Let's create our own GMOs. I believe my uranium vase created GMO is safer than Monsanto's. That was a joke.